Oh, right there. There's Jupiter. Let's zoom in a little bit. Now, the problem is it's a little out of focus, and I have no way to focus it except by moving the camera. Whoops, sorry. Let's see here. I'm trying something. I'm probably gonna lose it. So we'll see if this stream goes for very long or not. I'm just trying to get it in there a little further. Okay, before I lose it, I better get it back in the center. Good luck. Oh man. See, when I have my regular camera, or the phone camera, the iPhone camera. All right, that's just gonna have to be the best I can do. With an iPhone, it's not that bad. We're zoomed way in. I mean, if you look at, you can barely see the stripes there, but when I was taking a video with the iPhone app, the camera app, I can turn the brightness down, and you could see the stripes a lot better. But I'm just waiting for the moon to come up because I was thinking of setting my telescope pointed at the moon. Now let's see if I can, I'm just gonna see, okay. They don't have the option to change the brightness, I don't think. Bubbles in space, yo. Let's just try this. No, that's too bright. This maybe. Oh, that's like silver screen. Haunt. Whoa, there we go. That one's cool. Hey, can you see the spot on there? Like the storm? You guys, Jupiter is not a place. It's an evil spirit. There's a big difference. Let's go to the sketch. Okay, well, sorry, I'll quit messing with it. Back to normal. And sorry, it's in portrait mode. That's just how it is. Let me show you what happens. I have an adjustable eyepiece, so if I turn it to landscape mode, uh-oh, it says orientation is locked. Turn device back. All right, I'll turn it back. See how I zoomed out and zoomed in? Okay, let's see here. There's that. Let me zoom out just a little bit. Oh, that's not very good. Whoa, you can zoom way in on this. So, we were all raised in a world that taught us that this was a place or a ball of gas or something, as if we know. Give me a break. If you really think of this situation, I'm standing here under the stars, looking at the dome, the firmament, and this whole debate about flat Earth and globe. The Earth is not a globe, unless you want to live in a false, constructed world where everybody thinks that they know everything, and there is no God, and we all came from, which makes no sense. We just came from wherever, we evolved. And like the Earth is billions of years old, or I mean, the universe is billions, all of that is the very bottom of the firmament, the whole idea of the universe. It's expanding into nothing. You know what? There's a place of outer darkness, and that's where this planet is. That's where it is. You're looking at a prisoner in a prison. That's what you're looking at. but it's a angelic or celestial, and angels can fool men, so we should not be deceived. Um, we've inherited lies, and yeah. Oh, a mosquito! Get out of here! So it's not a very good image, but I'll tell you what, it's not that bad for an iPhone 10 through my telescope. It's hard enough just to get Jupiter on there. Let me zoom out a little bit and show you what we got. Can we see them other moons or not? Let's see, how do I get rid of all these menus? Okay, there we go. Can't see those moons, huh? Let me grab the remote. What's up, Buzzin23? I can't see, whoops, I can't see all the comments. I just started to see the first comment. Maybe there's only 1 or 2 comments. Okay, I'm trying to get it to go up a little bit. I'd show you Saturn, and I can't because it's kind of behind the house, and I'd have to reset the telescope. So maybe I'd do another live with Saturn, because that's why I can't focus this, because my focus isn't working. I have to reset it. Where are those 2 moons at, or whatever they are? There they are. Whoops. And I think I'm getting like a little condensation on the telescope too, because it's kind of like humid. All right. Sorry about the shakiness. Okay. So when Galileo saw these moons for the first time, he was like, whoa, what's going on up there? And he looked at them one night, and then another night, and then another night, and he noticed, like, if we watch this long enough, you see the position of those 2 moons compared with the position of Jupiter. Well, already tonight, even just in the last hour when I've been looking, it took me a second to set this up, but those moons have changed their orientation slightly, and you'll see that over time. And they orbit, or they appear to go around Jupiter. That doesn't mean Jupiter is even physical. Like we live in a world where, I mean, it's the Bible's all right about this. It says, that we'd have this knowledge that was laughable to God because it's not real. It's false. It's like knowledge that we make up. Yeah, we know we can look at what we're looking at right now and tell you what it's made of. Are you joking me? That's not real. Hey, Beck from Oz. Good to see you. Much love back. So you guys see those little orb-looking things to the bottom right of Jupiter? That's my telescope. That means something's not lined up just right. Whoops. Yeah, because I see those. Let me work on that a little bit. I'm gonna lose it, aren't I? Oops, wrong way. Yeah, it's hard to get it right on because I made this, that's better. I made this, see now it's down further, it's actually worse. But that's just because I made the holder for my iPhone and it's not even lined up very good, I suppose. It is what it is, guys. Okay, so let's do this. Sorry, I'm messing with it. Hey, Alley Cat. Oops. What we're seeing there when I do that, whoops, is we're seeing my telescope, the inside, the mirrors in my telescope. That's what those circles are. Alley. Allie, I missed that. You said something about Hannah there, and I don't know how to get him back. Let's see. Live chat. I'm gonna try this. Okay, there we go. I got it. I really screwed up our shot though, didn't I? Sorry guys, I gotta fix that. Oh, it's even worse now. All right, I better stop messing with it. Okay, let's get that chat back. Live chat. Elliot. Should do a kids version because they're very interested in what you have to say. Sending our love. Hey, good to see you, Allie, Tom, Hannah, and Noah. You guys rock. Well, I mean that's the kind of the whole deal. Sorry, I'm just trying to. I'm like ADD when it comes to this, getting this lined up. It's horrible. Whoa, I'm gonna lose it. I better just stop messing with it. So, let's take, like, for some reason, it seems like when we think about like what these things are in the sky, it seems like we have to compare our ideas with this other idea, like about that everyone thinks that space is a certain reality in it, and like we know about orbits and we know what it is up there. It's a vacuum, and we know this and we know that. Okay, look, like I like to think of it. Whoops, I'm going the wrong way. I like to think of it a little bit different. Hopefully that works. Oh, I want to get those circles off of there. There, I better not mess with it now. Okay. So, like we were taught, and I can't see the chat right now, but I can't touch my phone. I just gotta leave it still for you guys. I'm sorry, I'm a horrible, I mess with it way too much. Anyway, I'm not sure exactly how old Allie and Thomas's kids are, but I think, I'm gonna guess they're like 6, 7, 8 maybe years old. So that's the time when they're actually starting to learn all these ideas about gravity, and about, the teacher will be talking to them about why that the earth is they're going to tell them that the earth is rotating. But I would debate any one of those teachers and basically show them, because all you have to say to them is point at the ground and say, if you actually think that this is rotating, I need you to tell me why. Why do you think it's rotating? The only thing they can ever do is point at the sky, which is rotating. And they say, the sky rotates, so that means we're rotating. But that's actually the opposite of the truth, isn't it? If you look at the ground, the foundation of your house has been there in one spot the whole time you have lived there, or that house has been there. This world doesn't move. And so when we look up at the sky and the planet or whatever that's on, we could call it a wandering star or whatever, but that's on your screen, that is a light in the sky. And that's what we know about it. We know that it's a light in the sky. And that these noises you're hearing right now, that it kind of sounds like crickets a little bit. Well, you might hear crickets too, because there's actually crickets out right now. But that other sound you're hearing, it's kind of like a grinding hum. I don't know how to describe it. It's going row, row. That's one motor that is attached to the bottom of these optics that we're looking through. And the only way that it can stay on the screen, especially with how far we are zoomed in, the only way it can stay on the screen is by moving that motor. And that right there is proof. That's an experiment that you can do to see whether the Earth is rotating or whether the sky is rotating. So right now it doesn't, on our camera, it doesn't look like it's 6 and 7. Okay, cool. That's about the age where kids really start getting an idea of, no, we already know this. We know these things. Science proved these things or whatever. And this is a false idea. nobody knows what we're looking at right now. We call it Jupiter. We know that it doesn't, it goes on a different kind of course than any of the other stars. It's very similar in the night sky, but over time, these 7 wandering stars, that's why they're called wandering stars, because they don't circle in the same way that all the other stars do. So all the other stars are doing a specific motion. They're doing like basically a perfect circle in the sky. All the other stars are doing that except for these 7 planets. So there's 7 wandering stars in the sky that we see doing something different than everything else in the sky. So, and then also we see, like, if you look at Saturn, there's this ring thing around Saturn. These things are looking this way to draw down, or to draw the hearts of men. And if you look at our world today, what do people want to do? What are they trying to do? What is the world trying to do right now? They're trying to go to Mars. They're trying to go to the moon with Artemis, and that's Apollo's twin sister, Apollyon. Have you ever heard of Apollyon? Yeah, this is the same. When Elon Musk, the owner of SpaceX, when he says that he started SpaceX to continue the dream of Apollo, when he says that, and that's a quote, when he says that, he's not kidding. And I don't even think he knows what that means. When he says the dream of Apollo, we want to do that. When he says that, what he's thinking is, we went to the moon, and I want to go into space and do that idea. Okay, like he even says it like all the time. He says to be among the stars and to be a multi-planetary species. So this is assumption. This is a lot of assumption if you think about it. He's thinking that there's actually things there, like the pictures from the rover on Mars. I'd be careful about looking at those pictures even, because they're going to set an idea in your mind that there is a place up there where there's a rover with wheels and sand and all this stuff. Well, I've learned, I'm going to try to get the moons back. I've learned, and this is my belief, is that when I'm looking at this, there's these prophets of God. Whoa. These prophets of God, one of them being Enoch, and he was taken up to the heavens, and he was shown all these things. He was shown, sorry. Okay, there we go. He was shown the treasuries of all the winds, and he was shown this prison for the stars and the host of heaven. When I read that, I'm like, what does that mean? Well, like in Jude, in the book of Jude, it talks about the wandering stars, and it says, reserved in the blackness of darkness, reserved until judgment in the blackness of darkness. Well, that's what space or the night sky actually is. It is darkness. I mean, that's literally what it is. Without the stars, it would be a place of darkness. Without the sun and moon, we'd live in darkness, right? So I just think that these are evil spirits because they can assume these different forms. And that's what Enoch said, is that or Uriel is one of the angels that was taking Enoch and showing him these things. And Uriel told him, he said, this is a place for this place has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And then it says, and then he said, and the stars that transgress their order, there's one of them on your screen right there. Okay, this is one of 7 stars, because that's what Enoch said. He said, I saw 7 stars of the heaven bound together in it, like great mountains and burning with fire. Uh-oh, why are we wandering so quickly? What's going on? Sometimes this telescope is pretty old. Well, not really old, I guess, but it's... Yeah, Enoch does rock Awakening Soldier. I couldn't agree more. So I don't know which way I'm supposed to go. So I'm gonna probably switch eyepieces, because this view, we've had this view for a little while now. I'll let it go for a little bit longer, but I want to show you a different eyepiece, what it looks like. We won't be able to see the stripes because it'll be like too bright, but we'll do that in a minute. And then hopefully, we could look at Pleiades. That's kind of a cool one. Uh-oh, we're back on those two, see, that's the inside of my telescope because I'm not lined up right. And this eyepiece is the one that doesn't line up very good. Let me do this. Say bye-bye to that image. We're going to totally change everything. Okay, so first of all, I'll show you what I'm looking at. I don't know if it'll even show up anything. There's Jupiter. This is without any lens or anything. And I can't see Pleiades. There's Mars over there. It looks really orange. Okay, so we need to get a different eyepiece, and I can't see at all what I'm doing here. And I'm not turning my light on because then I can't see anything. Okay, so now we have a different eyepiece in, and let's look at it with this one. And it says I gotta keep the orientation that way, I guess. Uh-oh, we lost it. How could we have lost it? There it is. So now I gotta manually change the focal length with my eyepiece to focus it because my focus is, it malfunctioned or something. Uh-oh, what's going on? Sorry guys, bear with me. Oh, there we go. Okay, we'll try right about there. And where are you? There you are. Yeah, that's not very focused at all. So I gotta go in or out. Let's see. Oh, it just doesn't wanna. Everything's getting wet. So it doesn't wanna like slide in and out of the telescope. Okay, that's gonna be close enough. Sorry guys. I just wanted to show you that there's like 4 moons. Am I still zoomed in? Oh, that's why I was having problems. Whoops. Let's see here. Hide all chat messages for a second. So, see how bright it is there now? Oh, now my phone auto-focused out of focus. Why would it do that? All right, let's try this. With this eyepiece, I could show you what Mars looks like and everything. But this is already 23 minutes. I just wanted to show you Jupiter because I had a decent shot of it, but let's see. I'll put up a video too that I took of Jupiter where I turned the brightness down. That was kind of cool. See that star up there too, right above it? So yeah, that's not focused very good, but I have to actually shut my telescope off and then turn it back on to focus it. And to do that, it resets its location. So I have to find whatever I'm looking at again, which takes a minute. So that's really focused horrible, but let's see here. Let me see. Yeah, it would probably be pretty lame if I tried to do that. It would take forever. So if you go outside and you look up to, you just look south, basically. South, depending on where you are, of course. you'll see the brightest star in the sky. That's the one we're looking at here, and you won't see those moons, those smaller lights. That's how far it is away. Because right now we're looking through a telescope. So when we're not, it just looks like one little star, and it looks really bright though. And yeah, these are evil spirits, 7 of them, and they've been there since the beginning of their rising. That's when God bound them. If, as far as I'm concerned, that's probably the 4th day of creation. I never knew that. I'm just saying I never knew that the stars what they did. They circle around a star, like the North Star. They circle it. No matter where you are. Even in the southern hemisphere, they're going east to west everywhere on Earth. They're circling the whole Earth. I think I can see I have trees where the moon's coming up, so I can't even really see it till it's up quite a ways, or a little ways. I'm gonna chop some trees down. I'm just kidding. Let's see, I'm gonna hit show chat. There we go. Oops. Belinda! Oh, you can just zoom in forever with this YouTube app. So that's Jupiter and its moons. Let me do this now that we got it out a little bit. Oh, it doesn't like going in there, in and out. Let's see. Yeah, I need to turn my telescope off. And I wish I would have done it with the other eyepiece in, because I could have showed you how fast the Jupiter would go out of the... If I shut the telescope off, it's about a few seconds and it's out of the... It's gone. And that's because the sky rotates, not the Earth. You're insane if you think the Earth rotates. Now, anyway, if I say that, if I tell you, if you're having a conversation with your family and they're like, flat Earth is so dumb, it's a globe. Ask them why they think the Earth is rotating. And point at the ground, say this one that we're standing on. Why do you think it's rotating? Why do you think it's in motion? Which is the opposite of what you observe and experience. You live on a world that appears to not be moving very much. It's very, very still. The ground is something solid, and we all count on that. And when we have this intellectual idea that we know everything and that the sky only looks like it's moving because we're moving, that's pseudoscience, that's lies. Like that's the one thing that the rotation of the Earth, that's why I talk about it so much. They think it's rotating when it's clearly not. Like we all live here, you know? There you go. Do that, awakening soldier. I haven't seen a single satellite tonight. But when I look at this, like when I just stand here and look, the sky is huge. It's huge. It's been a long time since I've seen northern lights too. I want to see them sometime soon. Yeah, so the iPhone, it's fun. It's fun. Drones or weather balloons? No, I mean, there's actually satellites. Awakening Soldier, I'll give you my brief thoughts. I made a post on the community page or whatever. And I didn't know whether some people might call it like a different paradigm or like a alternate philosophy about what what truth is. And I know it's fun to like laugh at the space stuff, but when you go outside and you look at the night sky, like if you let your eyes adjust and you look up there, you'll see these things that they do launch on SpaceX rockets or whatever. Like there's a lot of people in this world and a lot of people that are interested in that kind of stuff in this world. Some of them are subscribed to my channel, and like every time there's a SpaceX launch and they launch a bunch of Starlink satellites, there's someone that's subscribed to my channel named Mel Gig, Melgigg. If you're interested, go to his channel. He films these things on their first orbit. He's in, what was it? Oh, man. I'm sorry, Mel, if you hear this. I don't remember where. He's in the UK. But, so, like, he'll catch them on film. Like, right when they're being let go. Like, what I'm saying is, for something... Well, here's the other thing. If it was a balloon, or like the idea of satelloons, and like there isn't this thing called low Earth orbit. Like that's, I think, like auto hoaxing everything is dangerous. And in the Bible, I've realized this just kind of recently. In the Bible, there's no human conspiracy that deceives the world. That's not happening in the Bible. There is one of these evil spirits in the sky that, that's what Paul said even. He said, we struggle not against flesh and blood. Not against flesh and blood. But against, what did he say? Powers and principalities and the rulers of the darkness of this world. Where's the darkness of this world? It's the night sky. God called it night. That's what he said, the darkness, when he divided the light from the darkness. He called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So right now, we're looking at darkness. That's what God called it. And we're looking at a star or a planet or whatever, a wandering star in that darkness. And it's in the firmament of heaven, because that's where God put those things. So I saw Awakening Soldier, you wrote, the sky's the limit. Until the end of days. Then the sky's definitely not the limit. The sky actually gets broken by men. They break the sky. Like physically, or maybe not physically, I don't know what you call it. Literally, all that darkness that we're looking at up there, that this firmament, it's all in this firmament, right? In or under the firmament, or above it, or whatever. But those are waters, and NASA thinks it's a vacuum. But it's an empty place. But it's not a place where it's nothing like the Earth. It's not part of the Earth. It's above the Earth. And it's a bottomless pit. It's called the deep. It's a deep abyss. And, NASA says that too. Why do you think when anything in the solar system or anything in low Earth orbit is in a state of free fall? It's floating. They floated on the whole way to the moon. They were in 0G. The whole way back, they were in 0G. Anything in the solar system is in a perpetual state of free fall because of gravity and orbiting a body that has mass, and this whole idea that men think that they know so much that they teach it to children. And that's sad. But what I'm saying is that the conspiracy that we have, that we call, what do we call it? I guess the whole idea of space is fake. That's not truth. And the idea of NASA deceiving the whole world, that's not truth. There is truth to it. Because I mean, if you watch NASA's videos, they're always teaching this stuff to children. But that's not because they're liars. It's not because they're lying. It's because that's what they believe. They've been deceived, just like we were. But we have our eyes opened. We look at it now in a different way. I mean, if I was to ask you, what is truth? That the Earth's rotating or that it's still beneath your feet? What's truth? Someone will say it's rotating and here's why. And they'll have their explanation of why they think it's rotating, but they'll actually be talking about something else rotating. And then, so you say, what's truth? Is the ground still beneath your feet or is it rotating? It's obviously not rotating. So there's truth and then there's a lie. And we can all make our decision on what that is. But when you're standing in a room with someone and you're pointing at the floor and you put your hand on your chin and kind of go, now tell me again why you think that it's rotating. What is this? Like, what leads you to believe that the ground that we're standing on right now, which is clearly still, is rotating? Why would you think that? And you will get some mad people. Some people get mad right away. Some people will point at the sky right away and say, because the sky's rotating. And some people will say, you have the intellect of a 5-year-old. Well, you know what? Maybe I do, but it's truth. So maybe I don't care what you think my intellect is. I would rather believe the truth than a lie, And it's clear. If I've talked to my dad about this many times. And the conversation doesn't always end well, but I'm always like, well, as soon as you have, if you can share the idea that you have why you think that the Earth is in motion, or why you think it's ever been in motion or rotating or anything like that, when you observe the opposite. And right now, and I stomp on the floor and I say, it's not moving, clearly. It doesn't end well because it's hard to accept that. Because you go, and it's same with what I'm talking about. That's very similar to what I'm talking about with this spiritual battle, and that these are not lying men that are deceived us. That is not the story. But then you go, well, what about the green screen and the harnesses on the IS, like all of these things that we think, or we believe that we've exposed them, the shadows in the moon pictures or whatever, all those things have to somehow be to make sense if those people aren't lying. To me, it does. Like, I think that they believe they went to the moon and they experienced that thing. All those pictures came from strong delusion, very strong delusion. I really don't think that the moon is something that anybody would ever be able to walk on or land on. The moon is also like a spirit, or like it's a she, it's a her. And she kind of chases the sun around. Good night, Allie. They fell asleep. Good deal. Well, you guys have it good. I'm glad that they're doing good and everything. But yeah, I just think that we have to think bigger than the way we were taught. We were taught that it's all just an idea that someone had. Yeah, I know you, Allie Cat. I know your kids are gonna know the truth. That's awesome. Yeah, and Belinda, like you were saying about kind of cracking a joke about how they get the picture of the first guy walking off, of the moon buggy or whatever. Or like I like the just showing someone a picture of the lunar lander and being like, you actually think they went to the moon on this? You think this construction paper and towel rod, like Jake the flat earth asshole or whatever, he said back in the day, he said it's a homeless tweakers shelter. But it's like, I think that stuff's great. And I think it's great to be like the whole idea of NASA lying. I think it's great. I would much rather have you have that outlook than any other outlook. But I think I'm just learning myself that there's no group. So I made a video earlier, and I guess I will upload it. I'll upload it tonight. It's just a video I made while I was driving, but I tried to explain, like I tried to break it down, like we're all the same as human beings, and there's not a room full of however many people that are lying to the world and deceived us all for generations. We have to start thinking clearly. This battle, and I mean, even people like David Weiss, DITRH, he'll tell you it's a spiritual battle. It's a spiritual war that we're engaged in. And I'm 45 right now, and 10 years ago, I was not engaged in this war at all. There was no war, as far as I'm concerned. There was no spiritual battle taking place. There was, I think, but not where we were actually fighting in the war. That's what's happening. And so when we are fighting a spiritual battle, if we're pointing fingers at humans when that isn't our enemy, or that isn't our struggle at all, the word they is kind of what I'm talking about. They're lying about the shape of the world. Well, they are not human. And they are influenced from the sky. Like we're looking at it on the screen right now. People look up at these things and they dream and imagine that they can go there and they can, I mean, I don't know what they think they're gonna do. Go up there, there's nothing up there. These are lights, these are spirits. Oh, your birthday is September 22nd. I agree, Awakening Soldier says there's been a spiritual battle since Eden 6,000 years ago. Totally. And it's almost like a battle that, in that video that I'm going to upload, it's only like 4 or 5 minutes long. But I was talking about just this group of elites, you know, the powers that shouldn't be. That idea, I understand the idea, but if you imagine that every one of those people that you're thinking of being in power and lying to the world, if you're imagining that those people are anything like you and they get up in the morning and they're very similar to you, they're a human being, they were born of their mother and father. What I'm saying is, don't auto-hoax the whole idea and just say, space is fake, haha, and it's funny and it's great, and it is. But it's not fake. It's a place of evil. It's a place of darkness. Like, we didn't think this way, but we need to understand that these are evil influences that are in the sky, in that darkness, and they're doing their motions that they're doing in order to deceive and defile mankind. I don't know why they don't like us, but they don't like us. It's interesting, I've watched Pleiades and Mars and Jupiter. I've watched them all move through the sky so much tonight already. They move. The whole sky turns, and I like that. I like to say that. For some reason, this world doesn't seem to like to accept that truth or even acknowledge it. And actually, people somehow, they debate that the Earth is rotating. And I'm like, how do you do that? Like when you're sitting in a room that's not rotating. So yeah, I want to do... Hey, I haven't even made a TikTok video yet. I have an account, but I haven't made a video yet. I'm wondering, can I TikTok live? Like from my phone? Like if I put this on my phone, could I do a TikTok? And if you're on TikTok, you gotta subscribe or whatever. I don't know. Follow. Chicken Little Flat Earth, I think, is the name. Or he might have a couple different channels. I don't know. But he puts good stuff out. Chicken Little Flat Earth, I think, is what it is. Look him up. He's kind of actually like I kind of follow him on TikTok. So he's kind of like, if I think of TikTok, I think of Chicken Little Flat Earth, and because I see his videos, and he even puts some of my videos or little clips from some of my videos on there. And I like some of the clips he has, like of Gene Kim, that I've never seen before. Gene Kim, that pastor from San Jose, that guy's smart. I think he's a little, everyone's a little bit off here and there, but Gene Kim is really, he's got some clear insight, I think, from God. But he looks at these things. He straight up says, well, where does Satan dwell? He dwells in the sky, in space. And I'm like, yep, there's a dragon up there. And it's funny, when I started my YouTube channel, there wasn't a dragon up there. There had never been a dragon up there. But now there is, and there has been for quite a while. And people that are interested in the scriptures ignore that somehow. Like, I don't understand that. There's a dragon in the sky. Well, that's because they just think it's fake. That's another reason why, if you think that NASA and SpaceX are just a bunch of people faking things, then of course there's no dragon in the sky. That's just fake. But in reality, it's something that goes up to the space station on a rocket, and they launch it up there with people on it, and then there's people on the space station. That's not outside the realm of biblical cosmology. That's exactly, yes, in Sheol, in chains under rocks, not under rocks, but, well, yeah, they are under rocks. But jagged rocks or something like that. But they're in the sky. That's where the blackness of darkness is. It says that in 2 Peter. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, what does it say? Under chains of darkness. And then, I mean, I'm just saying, in Genesis, what does God call darkness? He calls it night. And on the fourth day, he made the sun and the moon and set them in the firmament, and he made the stars too. So I think that was the day that those 7 stars, one of them's on your screen, those 7 planets transgressed, like right away. And I also think that that's a secret that's been kept from mankind, and that it was to be revealed in the end. Yeah, Voynich says, for whom it is preserved the blackness, the darkness forever. That's in Jude, yeah. And I think Jude really was probably, like, he probably had the Book of Enoch, like, in his back pocket when he was writing. Seems like Peter and Jude, they were reading the Book of Enoch. That's for the fallen angels who didn't keep their heavenly past, that blackness. Yeah, exactly. And it's actually in the sky. That's why Paul wrote to the Ephesians that it's spiritual wickedness in high places. That's what we're battling against, the rulers of the darkness of this world. And then, like, in Revelation 12, I mean, there's the dragon, Satan. The dragon gets cast out into the earth, while SpaceX Dragon gets cast out into the earth from the space station. Now, if you think John wasn't, he said, he was talking about a different kind of dragon. Oh, he was. I didn't know that you had that insight, because John just said it was a dragon, and he said it was Satan. But he did see it in heaven. He saw a wonder in heaven of a great red dragon. So then he saw war in heaven. So, yeah. Somehow this ended up being almost an hour. Yeah, Revelation 12 happened. I think it's happening right now. Like, the woman clothed with the sun. And by the way, what's the date today? Because September 23rd, that was 2017. What was that, 6 years ago or something? That was when that was in that Revelation 12 sign was in the heavens of the woman clothed in the sun and the moon under her feet, like Virgo. And I think I think that was I think you're right, Belinda. And the war in heaven, here's how I see that. Well, it says Michael and his angels fought with the dragon or Satan and his angels. Well, who's Michael's angels? It reminds me of Revelation 7, where John, he writes that there was 4 angels holding back. They were standing at the corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds. Yeah, it was 2017. Yep. But they were holding back the winds. And it was given to those angels to hurt the earth. Like they're going to make destruction happen or something. And they're holding back the winds. Well, when SpaceX Dragon launches, just think about that. How does a rocket fly? How does it lift something? It uses the air, the winds. That's what it uses. And like if you look at one of those plumes and from the SpaceX launches, when it's launching a Dragon into the sky, it's like, I mean, it looks like a demon in the sky or something. And also, like iron and steel and metal. That's what those beasts were made of. That Daniel and John saw, like they were made. They had iron teeth, and they were made of metal. And SpaceX Dragon's made of metal. Just think about that. Captain Caveman says, soon Artemis, I think you said, I missed it, but you said something about peeling the sky back. Yeah, that's scary, isn't it? So scary. And then if that doesn't do it, the Starship, that's what I'm scared about. I'm not scared about it. I that's the thing. Oh, I think I can see the moon. Yeah. I can see the moon, but not quite yet for the telescope. It's still like way down there. Yep, those are that's the motor on my telescope that we're hearing. Because it must move in order to follow an object in the sky. That doesn't mean the ground is rotating, guys. The moon's super orange. I can just see through the trees a little bit. So yeah, I think I'll probably end the stream here. Angels, starships, what are you talking about? Jiffy Cones. Hey, what's up, Jiffy Cones? You don't know what I hope you know what Starship is. SpaceX. So on the screen is just Jupiter, but if you go to the beginning, I had a different eyepiece in and it was a little bit zoomed in, but this is just my iPhone 10, so it's not very impressive. But the Book of Enoch, that's something that, a lot of people would say, oh, that these are all just old books and they don't mean anything. But when they start describing the world we live in, and I'm talking about the technology and the things that fly up to the stars, they haven't been around for very long, have they? And let me give an example. Okay, we all are familiar with the shuttle program, right? There was like 135 or so launches with the shuttle. And there was a couple tragedies where we lost people, one on re-entry and one was on launch. And I think, the Challenger explosion, that was pretty worldwide known event. People my age, we were in school. And of course, everybody would be watching it, and then all of a sudden this crash happens, right? And everyone's like, what's going on? Where are the people? Where are the astronauts? But the shuttle program, so it was started like, I don't even know what year they actually started. I mean, they were proposing idea when they were walking on the moon or whatever. That's when they actually were trying to get fundage going for the shuttle program. But I don't know what year it actually started. It might have been 78 or 82 or 80 or whatever. But in 98, they started building the space station, right? But the shuttle, once they had like they did 135 launches or something, and it was terribly expensive and was proving to be quite not as safe as like the Russian Soyuz. That's a rocket that just has not had failures hardly at all. And so it was much safer. And so they retired the shuttle program in 2011. And then it was on that, basically at that time, that NASA didn't have any way to get their astronauts into low Earth orbit to get them to the space station. So they had to, for almost 10 years, they had to buy tickets from Russia to ride on Russian Soyuz. I don't know if you knew that. So it's like NASA was kind of a little bit scamming the world, paying Russia 83 million, or scamming the US, you know. Because I never really knew that till I started looking into this stuff a little bit more. But so the shuttle program was shut down, and then we rode with Russia up until SpaceX Dragon started flying astronauts, which was just like 2 years ago, a year and a half or 2 years ago or something. So Dragon to the rescue, right? Oh yeah, I don't do Belinda said was asking about super chat. I don't monetize my channel. So Awakening Soldier says nobody could ever survive a rocket launch. Well, they do, I guess. I mean, I'm not trying to have a debate, but they do. And I mean, the idea of going in a rocket, you just have to think of like top fuel drag racing. That's the fastest that anything can go, powered by when rubber meets the road, right? There's nothing that'll go faster because of tires than than NHRA cars. Well, the NHRA cars are just it's the peak or the top of technology for wheels on the ground. What I'm saying is nobody can go faster than that at this time with the technology and the motors and whatever we have. And they compete to do this. Well, going into orbit is such a huge, it's nearly impossible. And that's why I think it's this key to this bottomless pit. But it's something that is it's nearly impossible to do. Because you have to, because of what's involved. And and what I'm saying is that is the peak of the technology, things in the sky. And as far as to stay up there, it has to go very fast sideways. Jiffy Cone says, Neil and Buzz walked on the moon. They were obviously alive to do it. So let me run something by you, because there's a lot of people that say they faked the moon landing, right? Jiffy Cones. They say NASA faked the moon landing. They filmed it in a Hollywood basement, or some people say that what's that guy's name? That film guy, I can't think of his name. That he filmed it, and because he was hanging out with Werner von Braun and them guys or whatever. Well, here's the way I look at it. When they built the Tower of Babel, and you might think this is just a story or something, that's fine. But when they built the Tower of Babel, God came down to see what they were doing, to see what they were building. And when he came down, he was like with angels or something, and he said, let's confound their language. Let's confuse their language so they can't communicate, and then they'll stop building it. Because really what they were doing is they were trying to go up into heaven. Okay. They were trying to do the same thing that NASA's doing, except NASA's going way higher, and SpaceX going way higher than the Tower of Babel ever did. But when God came down, this is a part that is interesting to me. When he came down, he said, with one language and one tongue and words of union, he's talking about when everybody can communicate together. He said, nothing will be restrained from them that they imagine to do. So then there's a lot of flat earthers that say, nothing gets through the dome. God stopped it with the Tower of Babel. They'll never get through the dome. And I'm like, that's not what God said. He said the opposite. He said that when they communicate in one language, guys, we have Google Translate. We don't have problems. We don't have a language barrier in this world, okay? So the way I see it, God said nothing would be restrained from them that they imagine to do. So did they imagine landing on the moon? Yes. So I think they landed on the moon. But here's the problem. The moon's a light in the firmament, and the only mention of men being in the firmament is there's a few times that it's mentioned, and what God says about it, don't pollute my sanctuary. He says, like, he says in Ezekiel, he showed Ezekiel, he took Ezekiel up to the temple of God, and he showed him all these abominations and detestable things that people were doing. And this is in the midst of Jerusalem. This is it's God's temple in the sky, or the city, the holy city that comes down out of heaven at the end. Okay, that place, that's where he took Ezekiel. He took Ezekiel, it says, to visions of God in Jerusalem. And one of the things, actually the worst abomination that he showed to them, or showed to Ezekiel, was Ezekiel saw 25 men or something like that. Yeah, 25 men, and they were obviously at the temple of God, but they were maybe like in the entry or something like that. But they weren't even facing they were facing the east, worshiping the sun. And God called it a great abomination. And then he also showed him that they would be, well, actually, that's in the Tower of Babel story too. They wanted to put their own gods in heaven and worship them. Yeah, I got a terrible image going here. So what I'm saying is that I think, we have this idea that we know all this, we know all these things about space and about orbits and about what all this is. Sorry about the focus. I think my telescope is totally wet. Yeah, it's totally wet. But I'm still going to try to get a better shot for you. I should have probably just left that first eyepiece in. But anyway, this is a spiritual battle, you guys. And these things in the sky are there trying to deceive the people on the earth. And that's exactly like what in the vision of St. Paul. All the prophets wrote about this stuff. He was taken up to the third heaven, remember? Paul the Apostle? Yeah, he wrote about that in a book called The Vision of St. Paul. And he wrote that when he was up in the first heaven or second heaven or something, the angel told him to look back upon the firmament. And so he did. And he said, and I saw in the same place, what did he say? Oblivion and power that deceives and draws down to itself the hearts of men, and the spirit of fornication. And he named all these evil spirits in the firmament, guys. Or no, he said they were under the firmament of heaven. But why would the angel tell him to look back at that? And then Paul wrote, he was like, I think he saw all the stuff that they were doing up in the firmament. He's like, is this the greatness of men? And the angel's like, yes, and they continually do evil from morning till evening. So us going up there is a horrible idea, and this image is just terrible. Us going up there is a horrible idea, and I never would have thought that that would be something that I would say. 10 years ago, I would have laughed. I would have been like, what are you talking about? But yeah, God lives up there, and his, that kingdom that's coming, that's real. And if you think about it, there's two kind of worlds to live in right now. There's the one that you experience, and there's the one that your teachers taught you. And they're different. One's a globe, and one is a plane. You tell me which one you live on. That's up to you. But the world that we observe and experience is still, it is not in motion. Beneath your feet, the ground, it's not in motion. So if you think that it's in motion, or if you think you have an intellectual story you want to tell me why I'm elementary in my thinking, just do realize that I do understand all the things that you're thinking about why you think it's a globe or why you think it's rotating. Those things are something that we've all thought before. So, oh, Jiffy Cones, you can't make that stuff up like that. Nobody has a telescope from the Earth that can see the tracks of the rover or whatever, the lunar, what did they call it? Rover? Yeah, the lunar rover. The pictures you're thinking of, that's coming from I think it's the LROC, the Lunar Reconnaissance, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. It's a satellite that orbits the moon. The ground is moving though. No, it's not, Jiffy Cones. What that is. You tell me a reason why you think that the ground is rotating. And you can't say that the sky is rotating, because that's why you hear the motor on my telescope right now. If the motor turned off, Jupiter would be out of the viewfinder very quickly, because Jupiter's on the move. And my camera is clearly sitting in one spot, my telescope. That's why it has motors. So my sidereal motors on my telescope actually prove that the sky is rotating and that the Earth is not. Otherwise, it wouldn't need the motors, would it? So that's just one of those things. Jiffy Gun says, day and night are evidence Earth is rotating. No, that's day and night are evidence that the sky has something bright in it that moves by every day. It rises in the east and sets in the west, and then comes by again for the next day. That's the sun. That has nothing to do with the ground. That's the sun going over the ground. Yes, so it does have that to do with the ground. But you get what I'm saying? We could say that the sky rotates. So I mean, here's what MC Toon said, that he said, I see opposite rotation in the northern and southern hemispheres, and that tells me that the Earth is rotating. And I'm like, and that it's a sphere. And I'm like, well, that's imaginary, because the sky's all rotating one direction, not two. It doesn't have counter rotation. It's that if you look to the south, I mean, just imagine looking at a clock that was clear. Look at it from both sides. You're going to see the opposite rotation, but the clock's just going one direction, right? So anyway, the world we experience isn't moving. We've all been taught that it is, and we all understand why it would be. Hemisphere is a sphere, yeah. What do you call it, a hemisplane? I don't see some of these words. We wouldn't really need some of these words. That's why planes can land. Exactly, Carrie. Because the ground isn't moving, the plane is. And a lot of people like to say, well, the plane's not moving because I looked at the floor and it wasn't moving. And I'm like, well, that's a ridiculous way to look at it. You had to if you're flying in an airplane, you had to take off from the airport. Now, I guarantee anybody taking off in an airplane, they know they're taking off in an airplane. Uh-oh, child abduction? That's no good. So anyway, it's something to think about. You know how here's one thing I do like is that every day, every single day, there's more flat earthers in the world, and not only more flat earthers in the world, but there's less people that believe in the globe every single day, and it never goes the other way. You'll never find a day where there's more globe believers than there was earlier the day before. Never happened. So that actually should be something that you consider almost even more than the whole debate. Why is the number of flat earthers only growing and the number of globe earthers only shrinking? There's truth to be found, truth to be sought out, truth to be heard, and truth to be told and shared and all that stuff. Yeah, see, I can just my experience tonight, just standing here by my telescope talking for over an hour now, I've noticed that the whole sky has literally like turned itself so much since I came out here. Pleiades is like way up in the air now, when I could barely see it when I came out here. It was barely up off the horizon. Okay, let's see here. This view is just horrible. Back at the beginning of the video, we had a better view, a much better view. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna end the stream, but I'm gonna upload a video from my phone just of me driving, and it's only like 4 minutes, but like there's a reason I think, like I'm gonna use Jiffy Cones as a globe person, and I'm gonna use them for an example, not picking on you. But I think that if Jiffy Cones, if you asked the flat earthers, we would want Jiffy Cones to see from our perspective, right? We want him to understand, and I'm sorry if it's a her, I think it's a him, I don't know. But basically we want people to understand what we do see, and it's not that we have to believe the same thing or whatever. Jiffy Cone says I'm a he. Well, thank you. So it's not that we're against what Jiffy Cones believes. It's just that we have found something that it seems crazy and dumb, and most of us looked at it that way until something clicks, and you go, wait a minute, there's something here to look at. And I guess the idea that NASA is an organization that's able to deceive the world, or you know, these Jesuits or whatever they blame it on, and they say they do this, they're lying about this, they're lying about the shape of the world. I think a person like Jiffy Cones is gonna have a hard time even considering what flat earthers are saying if they're saying, yeah, these people are lying, and we all were born into this lie, right? How about this? This lies on a different level. It's not a human conspiracy. So like if they landed on the moon and that NASA has moon rocks, keep in mind what I'm thinking or what I'm saying when I say it's not a human conspiracy. This is one of a spiritual battle. It's a I don't know how to describe that. It's in the sky. It's a battle happening in the sky. There's angels. And I would say the best proof of angels would be the stars. They're angels. And they fly in circles around what Enoch called a crystal house that had a throne there, and the Most High Lord of Spirits, or the Most High God, was there in that throne. And so all the angels circle his throne. And I don't know why, I don't pretend to understand that angelic realm or whatever, but, I would imagine that they're probably like praising him or singing to him or something, but that's what they do. He commanded them to go on those courses, and that's what they do. So there's these 7 that didn't do that, and I think that these 7 are the ones that are trying to deceive mankind into literally going to Sheol. Yes, knowledge is power. 77 says Jupiter equals wandering stars. Planeo, or planetes, or whatever. Planeo means to cause to wander, to lead astray, to cause to go off course. So when we say the word they are lying, I think we have to be careful that we're not accusing our fellow people that are the same as us, that just because someone has a different life and they go build RCS thrusters to sell to aerospace people, whatever, just because they do that and they have a different understanding of what the sky is. And I think we actually live in a time where we've been directed by our teachers and by society that to not believe in God. That's like the popular thing, is to believe in evolution and, all these genders and all this kind of stuff. When if we actually just look at reality, we live in a world it's obviously got mountains, hills, valleys, but it's always under us. And there's an up and a down. And we've complicated our own understanding by looking at these lights in the sky and pretending as if we know what they are. And we don't. All right, guys, I've said I'm going to end the stream about 50 times. I'm actually going to do it, and I'm going to upload a couple videos from my phone. Maybe one of Jupiter, where I just like a short, probably 30-second one or something. And then one of that short video just where I was talking to my truck. Because there's something to understand here about truth. There's what truthers are calling a conspiracy, I think, is a little bit skewed from what is actually true. So I think that the conspiracy it's not on the level that we are all living. Like we have a human understanding. It's not on that level. It's a higher level than that. And I think the consequences of all our beliefs are also on a higher level than we probably understand too. Or I shouldn't say consequence. I should say just what comes from what we believe. So, yeah. So sorry about the boring image here. I wish I could get the moon. I can see it through the trees, but I think we'll have to do the moon another time. So thank you guys for hanging out, and yeah, come and check out those videos once I upload them. I'm gonna just upload them right away. So, but it takes forever from my phone. All right. Good night, effed up. Jiffy Cones says, good to see you, Jiffy Cones. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. All right. You guys all have a wonderful night. Awaken in the Light is here. And thank you, too. Blessings to you. Yeah, Belinda says they are deceiving the world. They're not deceiving us. That's right. They did deceive us, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. So you guys have a good one. And yeah, listen for his voice. Thank you.